Okay, stop scrolling. Real quick, Michael Burry, the guy who saw the 2008 crash coming when the whole world called him crazy, just said something this week that every single XRP holder needs to hear. He says 95% of investors have no real idea what they actually own. 95%. And here's why that lands so hard for us. Because XRP might be the single most misunderstood asset in this entire market. Half the people holding it, right now, today, couldn't tell you in plain words what it actually does. And Burry just explained exactly why that's so dangerous. But stay with me, because there's a twist. That same problem, all that confusion, is also the biggest edge for the people who actually get it. Oh, and one more thing. If you see a screenshot out there with Burry's face next to some XRP price prediction, he never said that. I'll give you the real quote, the honest read, and by the end, you'll know whether you're holding XRP like the 95 or the 5. Let's dig in. Real quick, from me to you. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. And I'll be straight all the way through. I'll tell you exactly what Michael Burry actually said, and what's just my read on it. Those are two very different things, and I'll never blur them. Never risk what you can't afford to lose, and always do your own research. Cool? All right, let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Crypto with BHW, where we tell it to you straight, with heart. Grab your coffee, get comfy, because today isn't about a price target. It's about something that'll protect you, no matter what XRP does next. Let's go. All right, let me give you the real quote first, because accuracy matters here. This week, Michael Burry said the real problem in markets isn't just that most investors don't know what they own. It's that most of them actually prefer it that way. They'd rather not look too closely. His number, 95%. And the thing that set him off was the explosion of ETFs. Those bundle funds where you can buy AI or space or crypto as a theme without ever understanding a single thing inside the basket. Now, I have to be honest with you, because other channels won't be. Burry was talking about the stock market, ETFs. He did not say one word about XRP, not one. So if you see his face slapped next to some XRP is about to crash or XRP to the moon headline, that's fake, made up, ignore it. But here's why his real quote still matters enormously for you as an XRP holder. Because if there's one asset on this planet that people buy without understanding, it's XRP. Think about it. How many people bought XRP purely because it was cheap? Because it was the next Bitcoin? Because some guy in a comments section said 4 digits? They didn't buy it because they understood what it does. They bought a ticker and a dream. And that is exactly the 95% Burry's describing. Different market, same trap. So this whole video, I want you to hold his quote up like a mirror and point it right at your own XRP bag. Because here's the uncomfortable part. XRP might be more vulnerable to Burry's warning than almost any coin out there. And I'll show you exactly why in a second. Okay, let me say something that might sting a little, but it's said with love. XRP has a unique problem that most coins don't. It's famous for reasons that have nothing to do with what it actually does. It's famous for the lawsuit, famous for the army, famous for the price predictions, the moon math, the any day now energy. And all of that noise, it's drowned out the actual thing. So let's do the opposite of the 95% for a second. Let's actually know what we own. In plain English, XRP was built to be a bridge, a way to move value between two different currencies fast and cheap. So a bank doesn't have to park millions of dollars in accounts all over the world just to send money across borders. That's the core job. Settlement. Bridging. That's it. Not magic, not a lottery ticket. A tool with a specific purpose. Now here's the danger Burry's pointing at. When you own something you don't understand, you make terrible decisions with it. You panic sell at the bottom because you never knew why you were holding. You FOMO buy at the top because a green candle told you to. You get shaken out by every fake headline because you've got no anchor. The people who don't understand their asset, they're not investing. They're gambling with extra steps. And Burry's whole career is basically one long warning about exactly that. So, the question isn't, is XRP good or bad? The question Burry would actually ask is sharper. Do you even know what you're holding well enough to survive being wrong for a while? Most people don't. And that's the real risk, not the price. So let's put you to the test, literally. I've got a quick one for you, and how you answer it tells you which group you're really in. Here it comes. All right, here's what I'm calling the Burry Test. It's simple, and it's honest, and it works for any asset you own. Ready? Here's the test. Can you explain out loud in about 30 seconds what XRP actually does and why anyone would need it, without mentioning the price? That's it. No price targets. No, it's gonna explode. No Ripple partnerships. Just, what is the actual job and who's the customer? If you can do that cleanly, congratulations, you're already thinking like the 5%. If you stumbled, no shame. Most people would. But now you know exactly what to go learn. So let's do it for real. Be honest with yourself. Could you explain what XRP actually does in 30 seconds? Type yes or no in the comments. No judgment either way. I just genuinely want to see how our community stacks up. And look, here's why this test isn't just a feel-good exercise. Burry's entire edge, going back to 2008, came from one habit. He read the boring stuff everyone else skipped. The footnotes, the fine print. While everyone else bought the story, he understood the structure. That's the whole game. That's how the 5% are built. Not by being smarter, but by being willing to actually look. So passing the Burry test on XRP isn't about being a fanboy. It's about being an owner who can't be easily scared, easily hyped, or easily fooled. In a market this loud, that's a genuine superpower. And here's where it flips from a warning into an opportunity. Because that same confusion Burry's warning about, for XRP holders who do their homework, it's actually the edge. Let me explain. Okay, this is the part I really want you to get, because it turns the whole thing around. Burry's warning has a hidden flip side. If 95% of people don't understand what they own, then the small group that does understand has a massive advantage. In any market, every single time, the informed few consistently do better than the confused many. That's basically the one iron law of investing. Now apply that to XRP specifically. Right now, XRP is misunderstood, it's been beaten down, and honestly, a lot of the market's been ignoring it. And here's a genuinely fair point the bulls make, and I'll frame it as opinion, not fact. When something with real utility is trading at a steep discount, while everyone's distracted, that's historically been a more interesting moment than when everyone's euphoric. Burry himself says the same thing about stocks. He buys the beaten down, ignored names, not the hyped ones. Ironically, that logic actually cuts toward an unloved asset like XRP, not against it. But, honesty rule, let me keep it real. That's a thesis, not a promise. Discounted doesn't automatically mean about to moon. Something can be cheap and stay cheap for a long time. Burry's own weakness is being right but early, remember? So the edge isn't buy because it's down. The edge is understand the actual utility well enough that you can tell the difference between a temporary discount and a broken asset. That judgment, that's the 5% skill. That's what this warning is really handing you. So the confusion in the market isn't just a risk to survive. For the person willing to actually understand XRP, it's the opening. The crowd's distraction is the informed holder's advantage. So let's bring it all the way home, and let's turn this into something you can actually do, starting today. How do you go from the 95 to the 5? Here's the honest playbook. All right, let me give it to you straight, the way I'd tell a friend across the table. Step 1. Know your why cold. Before anything else, be able to answer why XRP exists and what problem it solves. If your only reason for holding is the price might go up, Burry would say you're in the 95. Fix that first. It's free, and it changes everything about how you behave when things get scary. Step 2. Separate the signal from the scream. This community is loud. Fake tweets, 4-digit promises, breaking every 12 hours. The 5% tune that out and watch the things that actually matter. Real adoption, real regulation, real use. Everything else is just noise designed to move your emotions. Step 3. Expect to be early. If you do believe in XRP's long-term utility, take a page from Burry's own book. Be prepared to be right before the market agrees with you. That means sizing your position so you can actually hold through the boring, painful middle without panic selling. The people who win aren't the ones with the best entry. They're the ones who could stay. And that's really the whole message today. Burry didn't hand XRP holders a price prediction. He handed us something better. A mirror and a challenge. Know what you own. Understand it deeply enough that no headline, no fake screenshot, no green or red candle can shake you off it. Because in a market where 95% are basically guessing, simply understanding your asset puts you in rare company. And zoom out one last time. A couple years ago, people wondered if XRP would even survive. Now the conversation's about utility, adoption, and legal clarity. The holders who understood why, through all of it, they're the ones still standing. That arc only points one direction over the long run. The pain doesn't last forever. It never does. So here's where I'll leave you, fam. One legendary investor, one brutal truth, and one simple challenge. Know what you own. Whatever XRP does next, green or red, the holders who understand it are the ones who sleep at night. And that's the group I want all of us in. That's what we do here. If this one made you think, do me a favor. Take the Burry test in the comments and be honest. 95 or 5. I read every single one. This has been Crypto with BHW, where we tell it straight with heart. Stay ready, stay hopeful, and I'll catch you in the next one.